nerds, and welcome back to my channel. It's lovely to have you back. Today we'll be talking about a little incident that happened recently. I just got to tell you, this week has been terrible. There's not been one good thing apart from maybe recording this video. But anywho, I decided I was gonna be a bit of a hush-hush and not really talk about this incident. But then I made a TikTok, right, about it. I haven't really told you what's happened yet, but I will tell you in a second. Made a TikTok about it. Got loads of views. And loads of people kept coming at me saying, it's not real, you're just making it up, blah blah blah. Then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video just so I can talk about it, because TikTok's like a 15-second video and you can't really talk much. Anywho, so like a couple of days ago, I'd say like maybe last Tuesday, I was riding a bike, riding Santander bikes with my good friend Kevin. We were riding bikes, having the time of our life in central London. We decided to go on the pavement quickly because there's like lorries and trucks, and to be completely honest with you, I don't want to die like that, and I'm trying to be all loving and peaceful and trying to take care of myself. So we hopped onto the pavement. Literally 2 seconds in, these two police officers, one being an Asian man and one being a white man, they stop us. They basically divided us, right? The white man goes over to Kevin, speaks to him very calmly, very lovely, and this Asian man pulls me over and starts talking to me in the most abrupt manner ever. Like, I'm not saying this was like terrifying or like traumatizing or anything like that, but I'm saying it was really wrong and like very unjust and so unkind. But moral of the story is, they stopped us because we were riding on the pavement. As I've told you before, we were trying to dodge lorries, cars, etc., and we were on the pavement for literally 2 seconds. So all they had to say is, can you get off the pavement? Sure I can. It would have been done. But this guy wanted to prove that he is the top guy and wanted to prove that, you know what, he deserves to be a police officer or whatever, community officer, whatever they are, like they're all the same to me, whatever, pigs, whatever. Wanted to prove that he's the guy. Cool. So he stops me and grabs the bike, and I'm like, what the hell? So I went, what? And he goes, excuse me, blah blah blah, excuse me dear, that's not how you speak to an officer. And I'm thinking, all I said was what? Because he grabbed the bike and he hasn't said anything to me. He just grabs the bike instead of saying like stop or something like that. Like there was no communication. You just grabbed the bike. So I'm thinking, this is a bit strange. He kept like walking very close to me, and I've already spoken about this in many other videos. One of my sensory problems is touch. I don't like touch, and I don't like people in my space. I don't care if you're related to me. I don't care if we're bested friends. I don't care. If I haven't consented to you being in my space, I'm gonna freak out a bit. And this is a random ass stranger. I've never seen you in my whole life. And look at your attire, look at the badge, look at who you are. You're an officer and I'm a black person in the UK. And obviously, if you haven't been seeing, there's a lot of crappy stuff going on at the moment. So I was already quite alert because I didn't want anything to happen and I didn't want it to be misconstrued into something that didn't need to be. Cool. So he's all up in my face, all up in my space, telling me, oh, you shouldn't be on the pavement, you shouldn't be on the pavement, you deserve a fine, you deserve a fine, getting really close to me, and I'm backing up because, as I said before, I don't like people being in my face and I don't like people being in my space. It makes me quite panicky and I freeze. People tell me, oh, you should have recorded the incident, you should have recorded it from the start, but I was panicking, so I didn't have any time to record anything. By the time I could record anything is when someone, like a bystander, had told me, record everything, get everything on camera. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have recorded anything at all because, as I said before, I was freezing. So anyways, as I was saying before, this officer guy was basically getting at me saying how like I'm a threat, blah blah blah. And I was thinking like thinking in my little head, I'm like how the hell am I a threat? I'm 5'3". I can't do anything. I don't weigh much. I can't do nothing to you or anyone, and I didn't come here to do anything to you. I'm just here to ride my bike. We were just riding in central London. We were just trying to go to Nighttown in Oxford Circus. Cool, that's what we wanted to do. You stopped me, you're screaming and you're yelling at me that, oh, you're gonna physically detain me because I'm not paying attention, I'm gonna physically detain you, I've got the right to physically detain you. And I'm thinking like, what the hell is going on? What's going on? What is going on? Like, what is going on? Because like, I didn't do anything, so I'm just thinking like physically detained. And obviously, as I said to you guys before, I was panicking and I was frozen. So I'm only picking up on a couple of words. I heard physical and detain, and like my face, I was like, what? Because that's how it always starts. They want to physically detain you, they want to put their hands on you, and he kept putting his hands on me, and I was not having it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it at all, and I was freaking out a lot. And at one point I was like, you don't do this kind of things to autistic people, blah blah blah. And he was like, I don't care, I have the right to do what I want. My friend comes over and he's like, don't touch her, don't touch her, get out of her face, like you're a bit too close. And the white police officer's like, actually yes, you are a bit too close. He's like this close to me. Corona's going on at the moment, you don't even have a mask on, why are you that close to me? I don't know why he was that close to me. So when my mate, Kevin, good friend, just got to put that out there, goes over and says to him like, can you like give her some space, like leave her alone, like basically trying to explain to this guy that like I can't deal with these things very well. He's like, I'm gonna call a squad car over because you guys are threatening me, you're threatening my life. Sis,
2 + 2 is 4, right? And 5 + 5 is 10. Okay. What the fuck is this?
Who's threatening you? Your hands are on me, you're in my face, you're screaming at me, you're telling me that I'm a threat, but you're the one who's in my face. You're the one who's on me. The one thing I definitely say I learned is I'm always going to have my autism passport on me, always going to have my autism badge on me, because if I had that, not that it would have helped, to be honest with you, because everything had already happened, but if I would have been able to just pull it out like, you ain't got the right to do this, then it would have been maybe a different situation. But the thing with that is, right, it went too fast for there to even be a point where I pause and say, oh, actually, like, you're not allowed to do this. Because for people who have autism in this country, you get like this little card, which basically says you're autistic. And it says that, like, if there's a state of emergency, this is a person to call. So if a police was to stop me, they wouldn't actually touch me or talk to me. They'd open up the card and they'd call the person on the card. So that person would be my mother. They would talk to them. That would be the person they talk to, because many autistic people freeze and they have breakdowns and they freak out. They go into sensory overload. Luckily for me, I had a good friend right next to me, and luckily it was a very, it got de-escalated because of the other officer and because of my good friend. Because otherwise I could have completely melted down, right? Cool. So through this all, this Asian guy is telling me, I need your ID, I need your ID, I need your ID, where's your ID, I need your ID, I'm giving you a fine for £50. Now let me tell you something about this £50 fine here. I couldn't give a crap about the fine. That wasn't what it was about for me. It's like, okay, it's £50. Yeah, I'd rather have that money, but for peace of mind, I will give you your £50. Take it. Like, buy yourself some McDonald's. I don't care what you do with the money. Keep it. Rather than being in my face and being in my space. Right? Cool. Kept saying that you need your ID to ride a bike. You need your ID. Where's your ID? Where's your ID? And I was thinking like, hang on a second. I wasn't going out for drinks tonight, so I didn't need my ID. I didn't leave my house with ID. I wasn't going to do anything. I didn't need it. Boss man, I'm not even here to buy juice today. I don't need any alcohol. I'm not trying to buy anything. So what is it with you asking me for my ID or not? And he kept like coming really close to me. It felt like he was smelling me almost. And I thought to myself, like, I think I smell quite great. Like, I've got my little cologne on, I'm smelling great. Why are you that close to me? But then I realized that this man, he just wants to know if I have drugs on me. He just wants to know if I smell like weed or whatever. Because when I came home to speak to my mum about it, who's a social worker, she was like, that's what they do quite often. Like, they sniff you to see like if you have any drugs on you. But I don't have any drugs on me because I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. So I don't know what that was all about. I just thought it was a crazy little like thing. Like, I wish I could have got it all on camera. I wish I got his badge number. I wish I could have got so much more. But I was panicked and I was frozen and I didn't know what to do. I was so perplexed, and I was really like not frightened, but to some extent I was frightened, because like I wanted to protect Kevin, but I could barely protect myself. So I just kept looking like, and my face was normally confused, and I was confused as hell. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And one of the biggest things that was confusing me was that like the white officer was so calm and so collected, and he was so like, obviously I don't have anything against white people. There's nothing wrong with white people. Like, they're lovely people. I only have a thing against people who are racist, transphobic and homophobic and sexist. That's the people I have a problem with. I don't have an agenda against white people. No, nothing like that. I have an agenda against people who are bad to my people. Cool. But just to know, all of the things that I've been watching, the protests and etc., and all of the like the stuff that's going on, it's normally like a white officer who like engages in violence. But this white officer was chill as hell. He was chill as ever. Like he literally was just like to us, or to Kevin, should I say. Okay, can you ride on the road then? That was it. The conversation was done. I don't know why this mini powerhouse guy decides to make things into a bigger scene than it needs to be. I thought to myself, like, are you actually on crack? Like, what is going on? Like, what is actually going on? So eventually, the guy, the white officer tells the Asian guy to like step aside and let him deal with it, which I loved. To be fair, that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Kevin. As I said, Kevin's the hero of the story, because he said to the white officer, oh, can you take over? Because it seems like you are more competent and you can understand us a bit more. So he comes over and he's like, oh, but can I just get like some sort of ID or something? Like, can I have a check? Which I still don't really understand, because I don't really know what they were checking for. Like, what are you actually checking for? I'm riding my bike in central London. I just want to go to Nighttown. What was the check for? Like, what did you need to know? Like, what? You didn't find anything on us. We're not doing anything illegal. We're being cooperative. I saw a couple of comments on my TikTok, like, this one was like, were you polite? Were you cooperating? Yes, I was very cooperative. Like, as I said before, I was frozen. So there was no time to speak. There was no time to be aggressive. There was no time for any of that. And to be honest, you need to leave this narrative that every black person is aggressive. Because baby, I'm not aggressive. I can barely even speak. In fact, I'm frozen. I couldn't do anything. Like, I was just like, that was me through the whole incident. Like, I just froze. So there was no time for the aggression. There was no time for the attitude. There was no time for sass. I could barely even speak. The only thing that I could eventually say was like, you know, you shouldn't do this to autistic people. And obviously that guy was like, he didn't really care. And then obviously when Kevin tried to get involved, he's now saying, you guys are a threat to me. You're a threat to me. First of all, I need to say this again. 5'3", Kevin is 5'4". We are small people. Where is the threat? What can we do to you? We are cute, plush people, yeah? We can do anything to you. You could push us and we'd fall over. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, what? But anywho, as I was saying before, I really interrupted myself. The white officer said that he wanted one of our IDs, right? And as I said before, anyone who's of authoritative figure, if you tell me to jump, I'm gonna jump. Unfortunately for me, that's just how I am. Like, if my mom tells me to jump, I jump. If you tell me to skip, I skip. So for me, it's like a scary police officer telling me to jump. I'm gonna jump. That was kind of what it was like. So I took my phone, right, and I got my Oyster card, and I'm taking it off. I'm ready to take it off. I'm ready to give it in. Kevin's like, no, stop. You don't have to give them anything. He's looking at me. He's like, no. He's like, we're leaving. I'm thinking, Kevin, how do we leave? I was so confused. I was like, how do we leave? I'm looking at him like, save me, please save me. Oh Lord, save me. I was so freaked out, right? But Kevin eventually said to the police officer, he said, if you want anyone's ID, if you want anything, take it from me, don't take it from her. Can we just have a moment? Hero Kevin saves the day. You know, big shout out to Kevin, because if it wasn't for him, I would have been in such a sticky situation, because that Asian guy was getting really mad at me for not responding. Like, he kept screaming at me I should pay attention, because for me, when things are getting quite uncomfortable, I play with my hair. Playing with my hair at the moment. I look at the ground. Like, I'm very like unresponsive. So he was screaming at me for being unresponsive, thinking like he was gonna get a response. The only response he got was sheer fear and me moving the bike back. I'm telling you, if he got any closer, I would have been in the road. I would have been RIP to my youth, literally. But that's what happened. Obviously, like, I'm not saying it was like that deep, because people go through way worse. I mean, God, have you seen what's going on in America at the moment? Like, people are going through way worse. But what I'm saying is, it didn't have to be like that at all, right? And the reason for you stopping me is so dumb. Like, how many people who were white had been on that same road with a bike? Why did you have to stop us two, it was a bit dumb. It was really stupid. Like, sometimes people are like, oh, it's nothing to do with race, it has everything to do with race. Everything to do with race. It's because you are not of my skin complexion or of my race that you say has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with race. I don't remember asking you, to be honest with you. I really don't remember asking you. Another thing I wanted to address is ACAB. Okay, cool. All cops are bastards. I just want to put it out there. Not all cops are bastards. Like, not all cops are bad people. Not all cops are racist. Not all cops are transphobic, homophobic, sexist. But some of them are. Some of them are racist. Some of them are sexist. Some of them are homophobic. And some of them should literally eat my socks, okay? They're horrible people. There are some of them who are actually horrible. On my TikTok, I hashtagged Black Lives Matter, ACAB, and a couple of other things. And loads of the comments, guys, loads of the comments were filled with people saying, how can you say this about cops? If a cop was to be there, what would you do? If there was no life without cops, you would be suffering. There was even a comment, I don't know if it's deleted now, but there was a comment where they were like, and if someone came at you from the black community with a knife, what would you do? And I was like, hang on a second. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, love? Like, the post was just basically talking about how there's injustice, right? And you come and you're like, cops are great, cops are this and cops are that. It's like when people say Black Lives Matter and then there's that one person, all lives matter. Nobody said all lives didn't matter. We're just saying that right now, Black Lives Matter. We're just saying that Black lives need to matter. Because otherwise all lives wouldn't matter. That's all we're saying. And that's the same with ACAB. If all cops were good, there wouldn't be a hashtag saying all cops are bastards. Like, literally, like, I'm so sick of it. But anyways, guys, have a great day. Thank you so much for coming back to this little rant. Peace out.